Hi, I'm here with Jamie Steenbaker. We're trying to find out about her company, which is Busy Co. I met Jamie a number of years ago when I was at Babson, and she was at Babson as well. And she's made amazing progress. And today we're going to talk with her about her company and how it's progressed over the years. Welcome, Jamie.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit, what is Busy Co? What is it? You're the founder and COO, we know that, but what is the company? What is it?
Busy Co is the first ever zero waste, zero guilt wipes company. So what we do is we create wipes that are completely biodegradable. They come in the first ever recyclable packaging, and we deliver it from a factory that actually is powered by wind energy. So we have a very low carbon footprint on the planet. And not to mention the fact that we put really cool skincare ingredients into each of our wipes, which is a really new concept, like AHA, BHA, glycolic acid. So overall, just a wipe that's good for you, good for the planet, and we're really excited about it.
Those three things, I don't know, it sounds like, chemical mumbo jumbo to me, but like, what are those three things that you just mentioned?
So hyaluronic acid, for example, is just something that's extremely hydrating for your skin. We put charcoal in some of our body wipes. It works really well to cleanse the skin, to get oil and impurities out of your pores. I kind of have an example of one here. So this is our body wipe. And I think I mentioned glycolic acid, that's actually a gentle exfoliator. So, all these different products that are good for your skin, depending what you're getting out of it. We have 15 different products, and each of them has a unique ingredient profile based on the customer it's trying to serve. And all of those ingredients are EWG verified and reach Credo standards. So really, really clean, positive natural ingredients.
So I knew you when you started this. And so the question is I want to talk about the technology first. You say I want to talk about the business, but I'm curious, how did you learn about all this stuff? You rattle off, so the technology and the chemicals and, why this works. Like, where did you learn all that stuff?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just research from being in the industry. We've been doing this for 6 years now. And when we started, we were selling shave gel. And now we've progressed to zero waste wipes. And it's really just been a learning curve over the last 6 years. When we started making wipes, we weren't making biodegradable wipes. We were just making kind of your classic body wipes, and we tried to make them as big as possible. And as we were selling them and we started to get consumer feedback, we were realizing, people really want biodegradable wipes. And then we were realizing, wow, 90% of wipes aren't biodegradable. Why isn't this industry doing anything about it? We should do something about it. And what's a good way we can do that? So what we ended up doing is we actually found a factory in India that upcycles waste scraps from the fashion industry. And that's kind of what kicked all this off. So they're making t-shirts and bed sheets, and we take those scraps from them, cutting them out, repurpose them into a wipe. So we're not using any virgin fibers, even if it was biodegradable. We're just using all these scraps, putting them together into a wipe. And as far as the ingredients go, that's just a lot of spending time hanging out at Ulta Beauty and seeing what's cool right now. Just a lot of research in the beauty industry.
Is your fascination or your focus on biodegradable and environmentally sound products and materials, is that just a desire for you, or actually is there a business component to that, and what made you go in that direction?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a two-folded question. On one side, you have my own personal satisfaction with what I'm doing and my impact on the world. And when we're just selling products to get you ready faster, but they're single use and we're creating waste, it makes me personally not feel great about what I'm putting out. So I wanted to create a product that is the best, that could actually make a difference. It took us a long time to test this recyclable sachet film that doesn't exist anywhere. Every sachet that someone uses goes into the trash because nothing exists to recycle that. So I'm feeling great about building something new and putting something out there. And then the other side of it is, does the consumer actually care? And the reason that we still have all of our wipes single use is because it's really hard for the consumer to change their behavior. So I could sell you a washcloth, that's reusable, but the fact is changing consumer behavior is very difficult. So we wanted to do something that they could leave their behavior the same and have that single use experience, but do it in a guilt-free way that's not going to have an impact on the environment. And we found that's really what the consumer wants. They want stay the same, but not feel guilty about it.
How did you learn what the consumer wants?
So when we originally launched our wipes, we had them on the market for, maybe not even 4 months before we realized, what a big industry it was. Body wipes aren't very common product. You'll see them a lot in geriatric care for people who either can't bathe physically or things like that, but they were just flying off the shelves. So talking to all these people that were buying our products, we do a lot of focus groups to see who, why, what. We got a lot of athletes, a lot of campers, a lot of people like nurses who are working 12-hour shifts. So just talking to all these people and figuring out what they want. A lot of moms too, if your baby spits up all over you, you need a wipe. There's really no alternative to it other than, having an extra shirt or something that you don't carry around.
And so let's go back a little bit to the beginning when you started the company. So you were a student at Babson and you were playing around with some ideas. Was this the first idea that came to your mind, or were you thinking about some other things?
We started off selling shave gel, and my biggest qualm I was a freshman when we started the company. I hated shaving my legs because I would always forget. So I would be trying to shave my legs in my room or, sticking my leg in a sink, trying to shave. And I was really just surprised that there wasn't anything on the market that would let you shave not in the shower. So me and my partner, Michael, came together. I had the problem and he was really involved at the Babson, the venture center there. So we kind of came together and actually made a company. And then we didn't want to be just a single product company. You can't just sell shave gel. So we thought more about who's buying it. And it's the busy woman who's on the go and doesn't have time. So then we built this huge product suite around the busy women who doesn't have time. So we had dry shampoo, dry conditioner, dry shave gel, body wipes, 5 minutes or less, get ready. And then the body wipes were just our best seller by far, 90% of our sales. So we kind of said, all right, screw the other products. Let's just go for wipes.
And so what percentage of your sales right now are the body wipes?
So we have actually fully transitioned to our new brand, and we only sell wipes now. We have some of our older products on Amazon, but other than that, the whole rebrand is centered around zero guilt wipes.
So you start off, and how did you learn? Like, I know you were in the Babson, I guess the summer accelerator, but what did you know then? And what was the progression from knowing virtually nothing except your own experience to delivering in the line of products that people were excited about? Like, where's that journey from a learning standpoint about business and about, distribution and all that? Like, where did it all come from?
Yeah, I think absolutely everything I did was based off experiences that I had and making mistakes at things I had and just doing by trying. A lot of the time there's no one there to help you. It's really just me in charge and I have this task and I have to do it, or the business fails. Just you got to figure it out. So there's a lot of real life experience. Okay, how do I use an EDI system? I've never used this before. All right, I'm getting tired of shipping products out of my garage. How do what does a 3PL look like, and who has the best prices? So it's really just shopping around for the information you're looking for. And I've made a ton of mistakes every step of the way. But you obviously learn from those mistakes in doing that.
Do you ever depend on other kinds of content about entrepreneurship and business, like articles you read or publications you read, or is it mostly just like trying it, making a mistake, and then retooling what you need to do?
A lot of it, I would say we talk to a lot of people, other founders, people like you, who just have experience in the space. So, Michael's in a ton of different groups with fellow founders. I'm personally in a lot of female founder groups, and we just sit around, bounce ideas off each other. What email platform are you using? Who are you using for hosting? Do you know any good influencers? So a lot of it is just a circle of sharing. And then obviously, like Babson, for example, has a ton of resources that I've used over the years just for networking purposes or trying to get in touch with someone, things like that.
What's the format? You said you're in a couple of groups, women founder groups. Like, what is the format and what seems to work the best for you? Is it just asking people, or is it, peer group meetings? Like what is it out there that has the most value to you?
Yeah, I mean, my most active group, I was part of the BAPS and Win Lab. So there's a group of girls, 10 of us kind of just have a big WhatsApp group, and we just throw questions in there whenever we have questions. And then if someone has knowledge in a particular area, then you jump on a personal call with them. I was just giving one of my friends who runs a baby care company. She was in talks with CVS, and we've worked with them before. So we kind of just ended up having a 45-minute conversation about what does the back end look like about getting into CVS and the process and what kind of margins, et cetera, et cetera. So things like that.
What is the secret to getting into CVS? Can you share that with us?
Well, we haven't been on the shelf yet because you got to hit really, really good margins. But it's all about knowing the right people. We have an excellent salesperson on our team, Elena, and she knows every rep, every buyer, every broker. So I think it's really about timing and having the right product for the placement at that, at that particular part of the year.
And do you think that you've grown, you've gone, you were telling me your revenue is getting pretty high. And the question is there anything about your revenue, like, are there any sort of like secrets about those things that actually, when you see a peak in your revenue, like, is there something you've done specifically that's gotten you from the lower revenue to a higher revenue? Is there something besides, maybe it's the pandemic, I don't really know, but is there something particular that sort of led to that?
So basically for us, what our goal is our mix of Amazon, D2C, and wholesale. And we want to be, if you take a company like Harry's, for example, when they sold, they were doing 80% of their revenue through wholesale channels. So that would ultimately be the goal, is to really build up our brand and our reputation online through Amazon and our direct channels. And then when we're really going to see a revenue take off is when we start to get into the bigger retailers. We're in a couple smaller ones right now. We're in Macy's, Anthropologie, Bed Bath & Beyond. Those are off the top of my head, but the big fish like the Ultas and the Targets, the CVSs of the world, that's when you're really going to see a huge kick in your revenue.
So does Amazon, you grow fast when you're on Amazon, or do you have to actually make that work for you?
Amazon is a ton of work, and we have a whole team dedicated to that specialize in Amazon sales. So they manage our products for us, and we put a ton of time and effort into our Amazon sales channel. It's really, really important. And that's just going to continue to grow steadily. It's been 30% of our revenue this year. So we're just kind of planning to keep that up, relaunching all of our new products on there as they come in, and just try and support them as much as we can, but super important to have.
So when you move from like where you are to, say, distribution, like a Target, maybe Walmart, maybe some of the CVSs and the Walgreens of the world, obviously, if you get in those, your distribution numbers are going to just skyrocket. How do you learn and prepare for such a growth in a relatively short period of time?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we've already had a lot of challenges with our manufacturing because of the pandemic. We've seen so many roadblocks, and even, working with Bed Bath & Beyond, Dillard's, Kohl's, we've had enough experience with these retailers where they say, okay, we need, 15,000 products tomorrow. So we've already kind of encountered a lot of those challenges, and, learned how to plan our inventory accordingly so that we have a certain amount of stock on hand. So when those opportunities pop up and they need them now, we can execute on making those deals happen. And a lot of these bigger deals, like the Targets and the CVSs, you would know 3 to 6 months in advance. And we've now, to kind of cover ourselves, we have 2 different manufacturers. So that way we can kind of turn on and off the taps as need be. If there's, if we get a massive purchase order, we can just go full steam ahead with both manufacturers. And we're not pigeonholed or stuck in any way.
Yeah, you're sourcing from China, is that correct? Is that what you said?
We're actually all made in the USA now.
Oh, so. Really? Well, that's cool.
That's also part of the transition with the new brand. We wanted to have everything made here. So.
And is it hard to find manufacturers or people to sort of deliver to you your supply?
It's been very different working with suppliers in the States versus overseas, but I think it's overall been a pretty positive experience. I haven't had too much trouble. actually there's just much more organized. So it's a huge learning curve for me with, different tracking lists and item numbers and codes, and there's a lot more barcodes involved because I think there's a lot less manual labor. A lot of it is more automated here. So you need to be a lot more precise with bringing in your raw materials and making sure everything's labeled correctly and packed correctly and things like that.
So over the years, the I don't know if it's a myth, maybe you can sort of verify that or not, but confirm that or not. But the myth that when you work with China, everything is so cheap that it's hard to move to the United States because manufacturing is so much more expensive. Is that still accurate?
I would say it's mostly accurate. The prices are certainly much higher here. But because I control all my raw materials, I certainly have the upper hand on that. Because a lot of the prices for the States, it's a turnkey solution, make these wipes for me. But I source the formula, I source the film, I source the wipe itself. So by having control over all my substrates, which do come from, different places in the world, like our textiles come from India. So you're still getting prices on those raw materials and you're still making sure that the quality's there. But everything's coming together in the States in a positive way. So I have a little more control, but I would say certainly making in the States is a lot more expensive than overseas, for sure.
So when you started 6 years ago and you imagine yourself where you are today, what would you have liked to have told yourself then that would have made this journey a lot easier and better?
That's a tough question. Stick to it. We've always stuck to it, but I've seen a lot of other fellow founders, you kind of reach your breaking point. It's very challenging doing what we do, working for yourself and depending only on yourself. So I think just stick to it and it's going to be okay. And as long as you see it through, follow the signs. If I was still selling shave gel, I wouldn't be here, right? But being able to follow the market and follow your consumers where the world, wants to take your product. I think that's the most important part is just keep going and just don't be afraid to pivot because we've pivoted so many times and I'm so glad we did it each time. So.
And it was the consumer that was basically whispering in your ear, like, you got to pivot because I'm not buying your product that much on this other line of products?
Yeah, or even just, constantly getting asked, why aren't these biodegradable? If people are asking, then you should do it. And I think a lot of people sometimes just want to stick to their idea and their plan and this is their path and they have to reach it, right? And I don't have a particular goal in mind. I'm going to, take my journey as it comes and my feedback as it comes and pivot in a positive way.
Can you think of any crisis moments over the last 6 years that you just struggled to you said you had to sort of keep pushing forward and staying focused. What might have happened over the last 6 years that just like, I can't believe we're dealing with this?
There's been a couple, and usually it's related to raising money. I think that's every founder's headache is, we've raised 4 rounds of funding, not 4, 3 rounds of funding so far, a small friends and family, and then a bridge, and then a larger round. But those are always really stressful times, making sure that you have the right amount of cash in the bank to pay your employees and get your inventory out the door. And you have purchase orders waiting over here to be filled, but you need the money to fulfill the purchase orders. So I think kind of the biggest headaches are always around how much money is in the bank, how much inventory is in the warehouse, how can we make this work? And, Michael and I were personally liable for a lot of that for a long time. So that's also kind of weighs heavy on your heart. So I think those are the moments where you want to be told to push through.
Yeah, my understanding is raising money when you're a tech firm is a lot easier than when you're a consumer products company. Did you find that to be the case, or you just have to find the right investors?
I think it's about finding the right investors because there's a lot of people. We moved to New York City specifically so that we could, dive deeper into the consumer brands community. And, I think there's a lot of really great investors who focus specifically in consumer brands, and the money's certainly there. I think it's more so that there's just so many consumer brands and that it's all completely opinion based. I can show my brand to 100 investors and 50 of them will think it's the coolest thing ever, and the other half will say it's ugly. So it's all very, very opinion based, and investors have really strong opinions. So I think that's more so.
What keeps you going every day?
I think the carrot at the end of the tunnel to sell is really exciting. But I also think I absolutely love what I do every day. So I don't think I would ever not want to work for myself. And even though it's hard, we've done such a good job, and I love my job regardless of if we sell or not. And I think people forget that sometimes. They get so focused on the goal of getting to a certain point, building it to a certain point to sell, which I am excited about. But at the same time, I have a great lifestyle. I get to work for myself. I'm making a difference. I can have endless control over my products, my manufacturing, and I've done a great job at making a positive change with all of that. So I'm very happy.
How do you balance the revenue, like the money piece of this, with a sort of like change the world kind of perspective that you have? How do you balance that out, or are you able to do both at the same time?
I think you can definitely do both at the same time. And I think it all comes back to the consumers and what they want. I think a lot of consumers want to buy an earth-friendly product. And that's why we did what we did and made the changes we did.
Yeah. So and you and Michael, your partner in this venture, like, do you guys ever sort of come up against not understanding where you're going or agreeing on things, or since you're the primary customer to be focused on, you seem to have the play in that area and he's playing in other areas?
Uh, I'm very, very lucky that I have Michael, and it's been 6 years, and we don't fight. So we both know where we have the knowledge and where we don't have the knowledge, and we balance each other out very well. So if he feels very strongly about something, I will happily back off, and vice versa. There's never any arguments because we both there's an incredible amount of trust that's been built over the last 6 years. So I've really learned to specialize in product manufacturing, branding, and he has done an incredible job specializing in e-commerce, Facebook ads, email marketing, and he raises all the money too. So we kind of have our realms.
So if, when you're thinking about post-pandemic, although it's hard for any of us to think about being post-pandemic, are you prepared for a day when not everybody needs to, use wipes to clean themselves up the way we do now in, a year from now? Have you thought about that? And how do you prepare for what that means?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we launched our sanitizer wipes to not take advantage of the pandemic, but there's a pandemic, we might as well make sanitizer. So we have, came out with sanitizer wipes, and most of the articles I've been reading say that this is going to permanently impact, psychologically and physically. So, people's behaviors are permanently changed. People are going to be sanitizing their hands way more than they did before, even if the coronavirus is gone. So I think there's going to be a very steady demand for these products going forward, regardless of the pandemic, how long it takes.
Do you have customers overseas?
We've definitely talked to a couple distributors, but we try to sell mostly just in the U.S. just because of different labeling requirements. Like in Canada, you need all French on it, so you'd have to make a completely different product.
Yeah. Do you feel you can double, triple, quadruple your sales over the next how long? A year, 2 years? Are you feeling confident that the market is going to take advantage of what you've got, what you're offering?
Yeah, we're feeling really good about it. We launched our new brand not even a month ago, and we're already getting tremendous feedback. We're having buyers reach out to us, which has never happened before, because they think our brand is so cool. So I'm feeling really, really positive about the feedback we're getting so far. I actually have a ton of these pink kits behind me that I'm sending out because we just got our last couple of products in. So sending those out to PR and different beauty buyers. So we'll see how the feedback comes, but based off all the research we've done, it should be good.
You use the term beauty, but isn't your product very functional versus just about beauty?
Yeah, absolutely. Our old company was called Busy Beauty. So most of the buyers that we are in are beauty related. The section of the store that we talk to most of the time is the beauty section because we have face wipes. But most of the time, now that I think about it, we're actually in very specific like on the go sections or travel sections. So you're usually in contact with a particular buyer who runs a section and pitch them a specific type of wipe. So for me to say beauty buyers is probably wrong. That's definitely the old brand. So just tons of different buyers.
You know, I was thinking about, so I used to go on cruises in the old days, and I know that in front of every restaurant, there's a Purell, you know, piece. So you can get, I wonder if you think about how maybe you have a dispenser in front of every airline, every airplane, every cruise, like, so as people sort of move on from where we are now, maybe you could be a player in some of those activities.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually drafted that up back in April for a pitch to some companies, and it was just had a tub at the top with some of our wipes in it. So, you know, take a free wipe, take a free sanitizer wipe, and then it's also an end cap display. When we were trying to work out the financials of that, you know, as far as the cost that goes into creating high quality wipes as a sample, is tough, but it's definitely something that we are looking forward to bringing to the market when people are ready for that.
Even in a B2B model, I mean, every time I go to the supermarket, someone's cleaning off all the, you know, all the you know, the carts and all that. I can imagine it, again, but that's when you're a beauty product. I wonder if there's any point that you transition to a non-beauty product, but maybe have another division that focuses on more functional stuff that actually targets the business community versus just the beauty, you know, from a branding image. I don't know, just as I think about
Yeah,
it.
I think we're definitely, for the time being, planning to stick with the beauty personal care route, just based on the branding, and then our product pipeline. We're definitely plan on expanding more into the personal care categories rather than into, you know, bulk wipes, and really just support that busy consumer.
Good. So I'll go back and one time ask you one more question, and that is, so what would you tell early stage entrepreneurs, whether they should stick with it, not stick with it, stay focused on it? You've given me a couple of examples, but is there anything specific? If you go back to BAPS, which I know you've done, and you talk to, you know, freshmen, first year students and say, here's what you should do or not do, you have any suggestions for them?
It's kind of what I said before, but I think just go for it. You know, a lot of, I don't know if my visa is actually attached to BAPS, and so I do a lot of mentoring over there. But a lot of the kids I talk to, you know, they have a ton of really great ideas, but they're not getting their hands dirty with any customers or doing any research. And I think you don't know if your idea is going to work or not unless you start talking to people and really diving in. And if it is working, you know, follow it, and if it's not working, make some changes. But you really just have to start getting going beyond a piece of paper. That's your business plan. And I think that's kind of the hardest step for a lot of people. So I would say just get going in some form of direction, whichever direction you think is right. And if it doesn't work, then just try a different direction. But just keep trying things and experimenting until you know, you get the sign of, oh wow, click, it works.
It's funny when I work with entrepreneurs, especially as students, you know, you look around the room and you say, okay, which one of you will still be here in 6 years? And, you know, I check them off and I say, well, I think they will be. And it's funny because, you know, I had faith in your business, but there are a lot of them that I would say, you'll never get anywhere. And of course, one of them just opened up a brewery, and one of them is like, you know, was it human grade pet food? And, you know, some of them are really doing well. And some of them I'm like, I don't know if you're going to make it, but they, with this tenacity and that this sort of like obsession with the customer, they're actually able to pivot and move and change and be responsive to the market. And clearly that's what you've done. So it's been pretty exciting to watch. So congratulations, great work. And please do me a favor and tell Michael I said hello.
I'll tell him you said hi.
Okay, thanks.